Welcome to the Own Your Power Lifestyle Show. I'm Coach Simone Kelly, author, intuitive life coach, and Reiki master with Own Your Power Communications. We are a trusted guide to conscious living, intuitive wisdom, and personal growth. And today we have a topic that is so needed, especially with what's going on in the world right now. The topic is from survival mode to peace, nervous system healing in chaotic times. And I'm very excited to have with us Dr. Delvena Thomas, who is a board certified psychiatrist and the founder of DRT Behavioral Service based in Dania Beach, Florida. And she's also a physician who specializes in psychiatry, and she's board certified, as I said before. So we got heavy hitter in the house right here. And then we got Maliya Smith, who's a licensed professional counselor as well. And she's living in Costa Rica near me. So welcome, ladies. Good to have you. All right.
Thank you.
So, in this fast-paced world, we are all going through, obviously hearing the news, seeing the news. Everybody's in fight or flight mode. There's a lot of exhaustion, a lot of emotional burnout. There's a lot going on. So, and you hear it now, especially it's like a word a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm regulating my nervous system. I'm doing this to regulate my nervous system. Well, first, what does like the regulating your nervous system actually mean? Can one of y'all answer that?
Yeah, I can answer it. I can start. I would say regulating your nervous system is bringing your body down from fight or flight, or maybe even freeze to rest and digest, because a lot of times we get stuck in survival mode where we're constantly on the go. And I feel like our society cultivates that energy with the 9 to 5, the hustle mentality, the always being on the go. And I think even just moving to Costa Rica and kind of allowing myself to slow down really helped me to regulate my nervous system, because that fight or flight, like going back to Chicago for a couple of weeks, I'm like, this is too much, right? Our nervous systems are constantly being attacked. And so then you think about generational trauma, which, that intergenerational trauma where you're experiencing, your family's trauma and you're passing that down. So your nervous system is like already wired from that perspective. So I feel like our nervous system is constantly being attacked in so many different ways. So regulating your nervous system is going from survival into rest and digest.
So now, what are some signs someone's nervous system may be stuck in fight or flight mode? Like, what do you guys notice about your clients?
I'll give the analogy of, let's say you see a bear or you see a lion. And so what happens is your system wants to fight and flight. And so when you're fighting or flighting, that means you're kicking things into overtime. Your nervous system is designed to protect you from danger. So that's what's happening. And at times, because our society rewards production over basically quality, sometimes we get used to being in that mode all the time because we feel like we have to be constantly productive. So you can actually get stuck in what's called survival mode. When you get stuck, it creates a lot of things. It creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of nervousness, feeling like you're on edge. Sometimes because people are producing so much more adrenaline and cortisol, which is our stress hormone, your thoughts are racing because when you're in survival mode, your brain is going to tick and click and move faster because it wants you to think about how to survive or how to get out of that situation. So you might have thoughts that feel like they're racing. You might feel angry or irritable because you're producing this cortisol and this adrenaline to make you fight harder and to make you faster and to give you what you need to survive and to make you more powerful and more active. So that can lead to irritability along with the anxiety. At times, people have trouble sleeping. They can't stay asleep. They can't fall asleep. Sometimes they have physical signs like muscle tension. With that tension, it affects every muscle in the body, starting from the head down to your toes. So people might have jaw clenching. They might say that when they sleep, they're grinding their teeth. The young lady mentioned digestion when she was talking about relaxation, because when you're in certain modes like fight or flight mode, your body is not allowing you to rest, to do the things that you typically would do at rest, which is the things like digest food and enjoy it. And so when you're, and also to defecate as well, and to do things like to engage in sexual activity, because these are things that we consider that we do when we're at rest. When you're fighting and you're flighting, you're not thinking about digestion. You're not thinking about urination and defecation and achieving an erection so you can make love. And so all those things kind of get pushed to the side because those are not the things that our nervous system allows to take place when our nervous system is fighting. We have, I'll say this really quickly and then I'll turn it over. I'll turn it back over to you, Simone. We have two main nervous systems. There's a parasympathetic and a sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the one, just to put it to you simply and not to go into a lot of great detail, but that's the fight or flight system. That's the system that helps us when we need to survive, when we're facing harm. The parasympathetic system is the system that we use for activities that we do at rest. So the things that I just mentioned to you, uh, the constantly feeling on edge, irritability, the anger, the issues of sleeping, the muscle tension, the digestion problems. Those are the things that we can see when we're stuck in a fight or flight mode. And also just feeling plain out exhausted because of always being on this high, intense mode of action.
I was gonna say the hamster wheel that we're all on. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. So now that helps clarify a lot of things. So now, what are some daily practices that you do or you recommend to your client patients? You call them patients, right?
I absolutely call my patients patients. Now
Yeah.
I know so just so people can understand, psychiatrists, we are physicians, we're medical doctors. So we learn medicine. We practice medicine. We do a residency in psychiatry and neurology. So that's when we learn some therapeutic modalities, but also medication management. Psychotherapists can be master's level or doctoral level type mental health professionals. They basically do psychotherapy. And I noticed through the years, there's a difference in how each side of the house, if you will, refers to who I call patients. Physicians, we refer to our patients as patients, whereas other mental health professionals, psychotherapists will say client. I have a client today. And you'll see that sometimes in documentation from social workers, people in the hospital. But I always tell the people who work with me on my team, we're not doing hair. This is your patient. You're establishing a patient-doctor relationship or a nurse practitioner patient relationship or a mental health professional patient relationship. You regard them as patients. You're taking care of them and you're in charge of their mental health. They are your patient. Sorry to digress.
People don't know the difference. The one thing I would add, just speaking to what I know about you, is you definitely don't just focus on medicine. You also are into understanding the spiritual side of things or the holistic side of things. So I do love that about your practice. Since I was doing Reiki there, so come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, what are some of the daily practices that either you do or you also recommend to your patients and clients for them to regulate their nervous system?
Yeah, so I do actually refer to them as my clients. I appreciate that perspective that you gave. So that's just kind of what I've been doing since the last like 7, 8 years of my practice. But yeah, that's an interesting perspective. So a lot of things. So I didn't emphasize this. I'm also a comedic yoga instructor, which is an Egyptian-based form of yoga. Yeah, and it's really about regulating, of course, the nervous system, moving energy and oxygen right into the body. And so a lot of my focus is very somatic based. I do work with kiddos a lot too. So I do incorporate play, which is important, not just for kids, but for us as adults. It's important to play, to laugh, to, just actually be outside and like dance around and like let yourself be free. Because I think, we're so rigid, so kind of in this system of that that hamster wheel. So very much breathing is so important, of course, because it helps to stimulate, like you said, the parasympathetic nervous system. That is one of the most powerful modalities that I've noticed that works with clients. And yoga, I remember when I was at a middle school, and I incorporated a yoga meditation program, those kids, they were like looking at me like, Miss Smith, like, I don't know what's happening to me, but something is happening and I am vibing with it. But what I would notice is that, when they first started doing yoga, they would collapse out of the poses, right? Because it's hard sometimes, it's a little challenging. But over time, when we taught them how to breathe and kind of move through it, they were able to focus better. They were able to actually do better in class. And I'm like, see, this is the micro habits the micro experience that you're having as you're kind of focusing on this internal regulation system. So I think yoga is a very powerful practice, not just as a spiritual modality, because I do think it has that spiritual component, but also as a regulation tool. Of course, we got the, massaging the ears so we can stimulate the vagus nerve, stimulate the vagus nerve back here. And what else? I think I'm pretty sure there's so many other things that we can incorporate, but definitely play, yoga, breathing, walking barefoot outside, grounding yourself, pulling the negative ions from the earth into your body. And just there's so many different things I feel like we're connected with nature that is so important to help regulate the nervous system. These are things that I do, right? And these are things that I always like, hey, I think you should try this. I think you should try this. If you don't like this, let's try this. So many different things. And walking. Walking is another one, that bilateral stimulation, stimulating the right and the left side of your brain is so powerful to help you. If you ever just notice, go outside and take a walk and process what you're experiencing, you'll feel so much better after 15. Give it 15 minutes. You'll feel so much better. So
you mentioned the nature aspect, because that's a big thing that I always recommend. But I always say, go hug a tree, or go plant something, or go take care of a garden or something. It helps to ground you. But Dr. Delvena, I know you got something to add. What else do you have?
Yeah, I do. I just want people to take it back to the basics. I always remind my patients that a lot of what we do, we can actually control, and some things you don't have to pay any money for. You don't have to hire a specialist for it. Some of the basic things include my favorite, sleep. Sleep is one of the most powerful forms of nervous system repair. You have to sleep. We need to be getting between 7 and 8 hours of sleep nightly. Children should get more sleep nightly. Poor sleep can increase our anxiety, which is our nervousness, can increase our irritability, and also our emotional reactivity. So for me, the basic, sleep. The other basic, nutrition. What you eat and how you eat it affects your brain. I always talk about food and your mood. If you have diets high in processed foods and high in sugar, that can contribute to inflammation, which contributes to mood instability. Whereas a balanced nutrition, a balanced diet supports our brain health. I could go into many details about that, but we only have so much time. Just know that you got to hydrate the brain. The brain is basically mostly water. So get your plain water, not water with sugar or water with flavoring. Plain water as much as you can, at least 64 ounces a day, depending on the source. Some others might say more water, but be sure that you're hydrating. Be sure that you're eating your 6 veggies and fruits on a daily basis. Those veggies and fruits can include and should include green items. So collard greens, kale, arugula, spinach, Brussels sprouts, broccoli. Those are some of my main favorites, as well as avocado. I love some avocado, but you can add to that some other colorful items like sweet potatoes. They are very good for the brain. As far as fruit goes, blueberries and raspberries. Blueberries give you that antioxidant, the antioxidants that we need for brain repair. And as we're growing older, we want to reduce the risk of developing cognitive disorders or cognitive dysfunction or memory problems. As well as blackberries are really good for our brains. And there's a bunch of other things too that you can consume, strawberries and bananas. And while you're doing this, you're also helping your fiber intake, which your fiber will help have a healthy gut. We should be reminded that a lot of our receptors that we tap into to try to help improve our mood and reduce anxiety, a lot of those receptors are located in your belly, in your stomach. So not just in the brain. The thing is this, if you have an unhealthy digestive system, if you're not moving stool through your intestines on a regular basis, if you got a bunch of sludge in there and things are slow, that contributes to irritability and mood symptoms and anxiety. So you want to try to ensure that you're living as well as you can and making basic healthy decisions that start with your sleep, your nutrition. The young lady mentioned movement, exercise. Exercise, of course, can help stress hormones. It increases your hormones, your feel-good hormones. So that way you have mood enhancing chemicals to help yourself naturally. She mentioned walking. I love yoga. She mentioned that. She mentioned breathing. Meditation, of course, goes hand in hand with yoga. So meditation and prayer was already mentioned by her. I would just remind people to keep the basics in place as you're adding on all these other things as well. And the other thing I'm going to add to this is social media. Don't overindulge in social media.
That
Fear. Yes, and the fear of missing out, because when you
yeah.
use it excessively, it can increase, especially if you're not balanced and you're not mature when you're using social media. A lot of people run into emotional exhaustion when they're using social media. So sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is do what Ms. Smith said, is take it back to the roots, take it back to nature, like you guys are saying, and leave the electronics alone. But then we won't be able to see how good you're doing, how well you're doing in Costa Rica. But
Well, yeah, that's the downside for me because I do social media for a lot of people and for myself, but not a lot of people, for a few clients. But and then people send me stuff. So I'm like, how did I get on this algorithm? Because sometimes you have the Debbie Downer friend that's always wants to tell you everything that's going on in the world. And it's like, you have to learn how to ground yourself. And going back, I want to mention one more thing I thought was interesting when you talked about the gut, because that goes hand in hand a lot with what I do, because I teach intuition and how listening to your body is also like a way to pay attention to, messages. But the funny thing is, I never talked about poop so much until I became a Reiki practitioner, because I have so many clients that don't even poop every day, and I'm like, how the hell does that happen? But they're literally holding on to shit. They're full of shit. I always joke around, but it's literally because most of the time in that solar plexus or in their sacral, they're blocked because of stress, anger, resentment, whatever they got going on. It's all connected. So that I like that you made that connection too with the gut. My last question is, what is one me time ritual that you personally use to stay balanced and regulated? Maliya?
One me time ritual. I feel like I have a lot of rituals. I would
One of your
say
favorite ones. One of your
one
favorites.
of my favorite ones. I would say right now my favorite one is probably like going to the gym. That is one of the things that help me stay regulated. I bike ride out here, so I'm like always bike riding. It feels just so good to just go work out, be connected with people. I think that's very important because I like what you said, Dr. Delvena, about the whole social media aspect, because that's kind of that balance that I'm trying to find is like, okay, because I've taken a lot of time from social media, but I have a lot of people reaching out like, hey, when you going to get back on, and I think it is important to kind of find that connection. So I'm finding that balance within like sharing, but also keeping this experience sacred to myself. And so going to the gym is one of those things that I feel like is a ritual that keeps me very grounded.
And to add to your social media, there's also this beautiful feature called unfollow. So if you got negative people, or if you're following, like I used to follow some page that had people fighting all the time and negative, it's like, I mean, unfollow you because that's too much, or people that are just negative or gossipy, or, yeah. So anyway, just wanted to add that. Just like
Yeah.
I always joke around and say, voicemail was created for a reason as well. You have people that are toxic and always calling you and bothering you. Use your voicemail. All right, Dr. Delvina, last call.
well, for me, I do a lot of different things. I'm an entrepreneur. You guys know I'm a psychiatrist. I'm in the military. I'm a community advocate. So I have to practice what I preach. One of my favorite me time rituals is spending time on the golf course.
Yeah.
Golf, yes, honey. Golf allows me to disconnect from the noise. I try not to answer my phone when I'm golfing. Sometimes I'm on call, and I'm on the golf course, and I just abhor that. I hate it because you can't just get into your own ritual and just completely disconnect. But when I can do that, I can be present in nature. Like we already mentioned, I can focus on the moment. I can ground myself. It allows me to reset mentally. It helps me to combine everything that we mentioned, the movement, the mindfulness, the fresh air, the social connection. I love kicking it with my golf friends. All of these things are beneficial for nervous system regulation. In addition to that, because obviously I can't golf every day as I wish I could, maybe when I retire, but I make a lot of time for travel, for prayer. I wake up praying, I go to sleep praying, sometimes, or not sometimes, a lot of times I'll pray throughout the day. Laughter is important to me, meaningful connections with friends, and friends, I mean real friends, not associates. I do not use the term lightly. Friend, I don't call everyone a friend. Most people are associates. I have some friends and many associates, but I have meaningful connections with them. If it's not a meaningful connection, I do just like you said, Simone, and I push their asses out to the outer circle. So I have a circle with many layers, and they are pushed to the outside layer. I spend time with the people who create meaning for me. They know how reciprocity works. So I consider this stuff like investments in my own mental wellness. So I take it very seriously because, I only have so much emotional energy in my bank and I cannot spend it on foolishness and people. I can't, and people who engage in tomfoolery. And even if they're family, I'm not dealing with it.
Boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Yeah. I totally agree with you. Well, that's a good way to think about it. I want to ask you. I seen your videos of you on the golf course with your homegirl. Y'all got a whole show. What is it that you got going on over there?
Man, my homie. So she's my coach. She's my golfing coach, and we just have a good time. And the bottle with a little bit of vodka.
Oh, okay.
You here for it?
All right. I probably was.
Yeah, I just made a reel and gave it a little title, but we could probably make something that's about just stuff on the golf course and associated with real life stuff. But I ain't giving nobody no ideas.
Yeah, but I'm saying women of color. I mean, she's an Asian lady. I was like, and
Yeah.
golfing is not that common, so
Yeah. It's becoming more and more common.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because people are always looking for a way to belong, to find themselves, to gain an identity. They don't, everything you need is inside of yourself. So I would just remind people to dig deep. You can find what you're looking for and you stop looking to other people to find what you think you need.
Right. I did mention one thing. I don't think either one of you mentioned this as something to help deregulate your nervous system. Journaling? Anybody?
Yeah, it's on everybody list, journaling. And I mean, that's
okay.
That's like the first.
Rolled her eyes in her head.
I know, but this is what I like. Okay, let me be clear. So I don't just journal. I like to do scripting where you write in the present tense about something you want to manifest. But I don't know that I'm assuming that would help.
Whatever works, whatever makes
whatever rocks your boat,
makes your boat float.
There we go.
Float your boat.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, how can we reach both of you? So, in case anybody wants to book a session, you both do telehealth, correct? Or you can do virtual?
Yeah. And I just noticed something during this session where I saw Simone Kelly, Maliya Smith, and Dr. Delvena in Costa Rica. You guys were talking about this before we came on camera and started recording about some kind of getaway or trip or whatever. But so coming soon, guys, we're going to be in Costa Rica for a Brain Love Venture with Simone Kelly and Maliya Smith and all of our different networks. You're going to own your power in Costa Rica with Brain Love and Maliya. But you can find me at Dr. Delvena. So that's the @ DR Delvena, D as in Delta, EL, V as in Victor, ENA. And I have a YouTube channel where I'll post stuff from time to time. It's Dr. Delvena Thomas. If you Google Dr. Delvena, some stuff will come up, but you got to spell the name right. It's all E's, no I's. And my podcast is the Brain Love Podcast. So pull it up, follow, subscribe, and leave a message or send a comment.
Yeah, thank you. Maliya, how can we reach you?
Yes, you can reach me on my YouTube channel. My YouTube is Melanin Lighthouse. I'm slowly starting to get myself back in there. And I'm Melanin Lighthouse on TikTok as well. So just come check me out.
You guys were amazing with sharing all of your knowledge. Thank you so much. Hopefully we have some people taking notes and paying attention and taking advantage of all the knowledge you shared today. It's an epidemic. We need to calm everybody down.
Yeah.
And thank you for hosting this. It was so good meeting you, Dr. Delvena. I'm like so interested in probably connecting with you more. I was thinking about going to get an MD degree in psychiatry. So I would be like interested to kind of hear your perspective on everything. It seems like you have a lot of amazing things going. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And likewise, mental health professionals, we connect fairly easily. So Simone, thanks for doing this. Simone knows I love her.
Love you back. Thanks for coming.
Hey, see ya.
Have a good day.
Well, I hope you all learned something today, and I hope you incorporate some new practices in your life if you're not already taking time for yourself. I'm always a big advocate of me time. So, make sure you schedule time for yourself. If you're like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have, my kids are always here. People have excuses, but you can make the time. If you really want to make the time, you can. Whether it's in the shower, whether it's before you go to bed, whether it's the second you wake up in the morning, carve out a good 10 to 15 minutes of time to calm your soul, calm your spirit, and connect with your higher self. All right, with that said, make sure you check out ownyourpowerlifestyle.com to learn more about what I do as a coach. I work with everyone from spiritual entrepreneurs to authors to help them build their businesses and also to help them improve their intuition. As an intuitive trainer, I teach a class called Discover Your Intuition, and I'd love to see you at the next class. So make sure you join the mailing list if you're not already a part of it. And remember, anything you want is attainable. Own your power. My mornings are so much better when I start with Rise. It's packed with mushroom-powered benefits that help me focus, boost my energy, and support my immunity without the crash or jitters. As someone with the ADHD brain, this steady focus is what I need. It's everything. Start your day with Rise.